Welcome back to Funding Friday. If you are new and you haven't met me before, my name is Debbie Lewis. I'm the Regional Ecosystem Manager for NatWest Enterprise, covering the Midlands and East of England. And part of my role in supporting entrepreneurs is responding to their needs. And over the past few months, a lot of business owners have said to me, all of this support is phenomenal, but I just want to get my hands on some money to grow my business. And by money to grow my business, I mean some free money, some grant money, not a loan. So I took it as a bit of a personal challenge that I would go out, scour my network for people who hold grant funding pots and then interview them to find out how you can get your hands on their money. Now, each of these grants are typically geographically or sector specific. So it may be that some of the episodes are not for you, but quite often you'll find that what is happening in one area is mirrored in others. So it will give you a little bit of an indication of what's available and what's out there, and you can go out and find some that is applicable to you. And on that note, today I'm covering a fresh area. So we haven't had any representation before from the Cambridgeshire and Peterborough area. So Katrina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And you are joining us from the BIPC, which stands for Business and IP Centre. I'd never heard of you guys before this year. Tell me a little bit about your organisation before we speak to you about your grants.
Sure. And to be honest, we always get that, it's a brand new thing for a lot of people kind of discovering the Business and Intellectual Property Centre. So yeah, I'm glad to be on here talking today about who we are. So we are actually part of a national network. There's 21 centres all over England and Scotland. And we're actually here to help people imagine, start or develop their business by offering free access to resources. That could be market research databases, it could be searching for grants, could be kind of finding suppliers in your local area. We also have a stream of kind of training and events that run throughout the course of the year as well. So for example, if you're a brand new business, you were struggling in particular with your cash flow and kind of sales forecast, let's say as an example, we would have, just kind of this week, we had a session that kind of focused on supporting people through that journey, kind of answering some of the questions. So we have lots and lots of support, really kind of tailored to brand new businesses. And whilst I'm kind of in that stream and to kind of associate the intellectual property in our name, we of course also, we have a relationship with the Intellectual Property Office. Our staff have training to be able to provide kind of guidance for those businesses, at any age, really, to make sure that you're not, number one, infringing on anyone else's intellectual property, but of course, also protecting your own. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview as to what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you always associated with libraries?
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad you picked that up. I always forget to say it because obviously I'm so ingrained in the business, but absolutely. So with libraries being at the kind of core of a lot of communities, we actually use that infrastructure to run the service from. So it was established in the British Library, the Business and IP Centre. They realised actually that they were supporting a lot of individuals in, as I say, kind of setting up or growing their businesses. And they thought, actually, we could really roll this out across the country by using the existing infrastructure. So that also hopefully kind of shows that we are, we're a support mechanism that's there and really is open to everyone. You don't have to be kind of suited and booted to walk through the door and get support. It really is built for anyone and everyone.
And obviously libraries are super well known for borrowing books, but actually I was really surprised at the resources that you have available for business owners, from market research. You mentioned that a moment ago, that I think it's called Cobra, the system that you can access on there, but also that you have templates and tools, and you can download workbooks and you can do things on the internet that's not just about taking a book out of the front door. So I know that's not what we're here for, but please do check out your local library if you've not been in an age, because I was really surprised at what they could do for small business. So thank you for covering that off. I know we've touched on IP at the end of today's episode. We've got a cheeky little extra nugget of information about how you can access some money towards IP protection and trademark, but we'll come to that later. So what is it, Katrina, within your role that you do to help people access grant funding, and what's the grant that you've currently got available that we're going to talk about today?
Sure. So my role in terms of the Business and IP Centre for Cambridgeshire Peterborough, I actually manage the overall service. So I work with a very small team of 2 colleagues. We have one focused in on kind of running all the programmes that we spoke about, and then another that's built on kind of helping to access all of the resources. Because as you say, there's so much out there. So just making sure that that's all accessible to everyone. My particular role, I guess, it's just been kind of to coordinate, I guess, this grants program that we have coming up, which you've referred to there. It's called BIPC Jumpstart. We started it actually last year, but it's evolved since then, and it's sort of bigger and better, if I say so myself. I think it's a really exciting program. So it launched on the 12th of September, and it's running up until the 28th of October.
Quite a short window.
Absolutely. So it's one. Yes, absolutely. Please do act fast, because time is just flying by. So please do engage in the programme if it is something that you're eligible for. And is it worth, Debbie, kind of working into the eligibility as well?
Absolutely. Yes,
so of course we have, I'll start with, so if you're a business that's based in Cambridgeshire or Peterborough, and you're either a brand new business or were registered after the 1st of November 2021, this is a grants programme that's for you. I should probably throw the nugget out of what actually the programme is. So we're actually offering up to £10,000 worth of funding for one business, but actually in total it's £25,000 that we have committed to BIPC Jumpstart. So yeah, it's a really, as I say, very exciting programme that is happening as we speak.
So can I just recap that? So this is, because it's really unusual. So this is for really brand new businesses. This is a startup grant. It's not a loan. This is money they can have, and they don't have to repay. And it's for within the first year. You gave the date there of when it was established in 2021. And how can people use it? What are they using it for? And how do they get their hands on that portion that you mentioned?
So what we're saying is that everyone is applying for the 10,000 kind of big hit for their business. So what we want to know is what they're actually wanting to do with it. We've kind of left it quite open, actually. We haven't put lots of specific kind of details around what they can and can't spend the money on. If you kind of liken the programme to a Dragon's Den sort of style competition, actually what's going to happen is that all of the applications will be reviewed, it will go through to a panel, and then they'll sort of decide based on what they hear and how, you know, those businesses are choosing to spend that money. They'll sort of make decisions around that. So to answer your question, there isn't real specific kind of details on how they can spend the money. So again, another bonus point there that makes the programme even more exciting.
Who else apart from me is moving to Cambridge to start a business? Because this is amazing. And you mentioned that there were 21 other locations across the UK. Is this kind of initiative commonplace amongst all the BIPCs?
Unfortunately not. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Northamptonshire just did a grants programme of their own. Every BIPC will be focused in on different areas. So just like we have our own set of resources, they will also be running their own programmes. So unfortunately, it's not something that is running all over the country.
Okay, but different things happening in different places.
That's right.
And how hard is it? I mean, people I think are often put off from applying for grants because they think there's going to be loads of forms and they're going to ask them loads of questions that they don't know the answers to. What's it like, the application process, and how much help can you provide?
Sure, that's a very good question. So I guess the easiest way I can break this down is sort of different steps in order to kind of get to the point of submitting your application, and then sort of finally getting through to pitch round. So I'd say the first thing, as we talked about, just check off that you are eligible, completely eligible for the programme. First thing to kind of make sure that you don't get disappointed later down the line. We then say, actually, so I referred to or touched on the support that's out there and on offer. We're asking that businesses attend a minimum of 3 of those sessions in order to be eligible. So that could be a one-to-one, it could be a webinar, any combination of those, but we just say make sure you attend 3 of them and complete all the relevant kind of forms and feedback associated with that. Once you've done that, we also have, so it's kind of 2 parts really, the application. So there's a generic application form. We just want to know kind of details about yourself and your business, of course. Then we have 5 critical questions that we are going to be asking you to answer. Once you've kind of done that, you actually submit all of your information in, and we go through a kind of first shortlisting. Once the shortlist is kind of confirmed, we then invite further information. So that will be more details around kind of financial information, so the cash flow and sales forecast. We'll whittle that down even more to a final kind of cohort of 8 businesses that will go through to pitch round, where they will be pitching their business in front of a panel of judges who will ultimately decide where they fare. So the top prize that I mentioned is £10,000. We then have a £6,000 prize, £4,000 prize, and 5 £1,000 prizes. So there really is a lot out there. To jump onto the support that's being offered, we are here to support businesses to kind of get through all of the forms that we're asking for. We've really tried to strip back as much as possible any kind of difficult barriers to entry. If you download the documents and you have any questions, we are accessible, and we have got an email address that's listed on the webpage that you can email us and ask any questions that you have. So yeah, there is just tons of support available. We want as many people to apply and potentially benefit from all that funding that we are giving out at the end of the year.
Amazing. I love the fact that it's kind of challenge-esque, that you can go for that top prize and actually you might end up getting a smaller amount, but you've got to be in it to win it, right? Is there anything that we haven't covered off that is really essential for people to know, or any encouragement that you would give people if they've never done this kind of exploration before into grant funding? Maybe any top tips or advice to get started?
I think, like you said, you've got to be in it to win it. I think it's worthwhile, you know, if you've got a business at some point, hopefully if you are looking at growing your business, whether that's starting a business, at some point you will be asked to do sort of similar things to what we're asking. It's always great to be able to challenge yourself to actually, if someone asks you about your business, can I actually pitch it? Do I know what I'd say? By going through this program with us, it's, you know, it's a safer space. We are going to be kind of hand-holding people through this process. So that kind of final shortlist will be given kind of one-to-one support. Again, they can access expert support in order to kind of better their skills in particular areas. I'd say just go for it. There's nothing really that you can lose otherwise, because all of the work that you are putting into the application will be beneficial to you at some point. In terms of any other bits of information, other than just re-emphasizing the very short timeline that we have on it, I would just say, please do check all the information out. Everything that we've talked about today, all the kind of details are on the webpage, cambridgeshire.gov.uk/BIPC Jumpstart. So that is, hopefully, I'm sure, Debbie, you'll be sharing all of that information too, but yeah, all of that information can be accessed online.
Fantastic. I'll make sure I put that in all of the intro blurb so people can just single click to get there. And we promised that at the top of the episode that we would talk about a little extra grant that we're shoehorning in on today's session. So tell us a little bit about their golden extra that you're talking about today.
Well, thank you for letting us squeeze this in, because this definitely is something that we're very also kind of proud to be pushing forward. So we actually, across the year, we work with an intellectual property attorney called Benna Shipley. They are actually, well, in conjunction with them, we're offering 3 lucky businesses £1,000 grants to help them secure a trademark for their business. So again, sort of at the top of my introduction, I was talking about how important it is to get some of those basics right, to really make sure that you can protect your business for the long term. And I think what we're saying is, not all businesses necessarily have the cash or feel like it's a priority at the very start. What we want to do is be able to offer that, that funding in order to kind of secure that for them. It's worth saying, actually, just to separate it out from the kind of main grant that we've spent the majority of today's session talking about, we don't have the same restrictions on this grant. So actually, we're looking at the turnover of the business. So it's actually no more than £250,000 annual turnover, and has not got any more than 3 employees. So yeah, hopefully that kind of opens the door for a few more businesses to take part.
And again, so nice, because really that group that you're looking after is typically the underserved, that smaller end of SME. For anybody that is listening thinking, I don't really understand IP, I don't really know what a trademark is. We recently did a webinar where we talked about IP and trademark from a really generic all you need to know to get started perspective. I'll pop that link underneath here as well, so that if you're thinking, oh, I don't actually even know if I need this grant, have a look at that. It's quite a short little webinar that will help you to understand the concept. And then if you are in the Cambridgeshire or Peterborough area, and if you are under £250,000 turnover with less than, did you say 3?
That's right.
Then you can bid for the £1,000, which is going to be a fair amount of money to get you started with protecting your intellectual property. So please don't miss that opportunity. Is that just as short a window, Katrina, as the other grant?
That's right. So it is also closing on the 28th of October. So again, it is something that, we would encourage.
Need a countdown clock in the background. Your countdown is so just less than a month. So get your skates on if you're in the Cambridgeshire or Peterborough area. Katrina, is there anything that we haven't covered today that you want us just to tie off, or are we good and done to send these people away to take action?
I think we're good and done. Hopefully we've got a few businesses that will benefit from our grants. So thank you so much for having us today.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me. I do hope this is the first of many for Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. But as we say, short window, take action now. And if this is not relevant for you, please do take 2 actions. 1, check out the BIPC in your local area. Go along to the library and find out about the services that they offer. And a tiny little extra one, if you know anyone that operates a business in the Cambridgeshire or Peterborough area, please do share this link with them, because we need to get this money out the door. It's been earmarked and we need to give it away, and it would be wonderful to give it to a business that perhaps hasn't had this type of support before. So thank you all for listening. I'll be back next week with more Funding Fridays. Katrina, have a wonderful weekend when it comes.
Amazing. Thank you very much.